ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ
ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਵਿਊਅਰਸ ਕਾਫੀ ਰਿਲੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਆ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੈਮਰੀ ਤੇ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਮੈਮਰੀ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਇੰਪ੍ਰਿੰਟ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟਸ ਇੰਨੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੱਕ ਸੀਮਿਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਐਂਡ ਲੇਟਰ ਔਨ ਵਰਲਡ ਲੈਵਲ ਵੀ ਇੰਪੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। May 25th 2020 ਨੂੰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟ USA ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਫਰੀਕਨ ਅਮਰੀਕਨ ਬੈਕਗ੍ਰਾਉਂਡ ਦੇ ਜੋਰਜ ਫਲੋਇਡ ਦੀ ਡੈਥ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੀਗੀ। ਇਸ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਰੈਕਗਨੀਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਲੀ। ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਰੇਸਿਜ਼ਮ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਆਲਦੋ ਐਨੀਵੇ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਆਲਦੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਇਹ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਰੀਸਟਾਰਟ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਕੈਂਪੇਨਸ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਨ ਅ ਵਰਲਡ ਲੈਵਲ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਭਲੀ ਭਾਂਤੀ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਰੇ ਆਫ ਹੋਪ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਏਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸਿਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਆਮ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਬੇਮ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਯੂਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਰੇਸਿਜ਼ਮ ਤੋਂ ਭਲੀ ਭਾਂਤੀ ਵਾਕਿਫ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੇ ਯੂਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੇਸਿਜ਼ਮ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੈਵਲੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਬਟ ਵਨਸ ਇਨ ਅ ਵਾਈਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਵਾਈਡਰ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਪਾਰਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ। ਕੋਈ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ, ਕੁਝ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਮੈਂਟਸ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੈਸਚਰ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਦਿਲਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਆ, ਵੀ ਡੋਂਟ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਹੇਅਰ, ਵਿਚ ਮੇਕਸ ਅਸ ਫੀਲ ਲਿਟਲ ਲੈਸ ਵੀਕ, ਵਲਨਰੇਬਲ। ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋਈ ਇੱਕ ਬੁੱਕ ਦੀ। ਜੈਗ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਯੂਕੇ ਲੰਡਨ ਬੇਸਡ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਤੇ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ, ਆਪਣੀ ਇੱਕ ਬੁੱਕ ਅਨਬ੍ਰੇਕੇਬਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਥੇ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਬੁੱਕ ਅੱਜ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਬੁੱਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ 1970s ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਏ ਕੁਝ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਰੇਸਿਸਟ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਆਏ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੈਂਟ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਰਿਲੇਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨੇ। ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੈਗ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਂਡ ਹਾਊ things have still not changed between 1970s till 2020. ਇਹਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜੈਗ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ। ਜੱਗ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਜੱਗ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਮੈਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਉਂਡ ਇਸ ਬੁੱਕ ਬਾਰੇ, ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਐਂਡ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹ ਬੁੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਈਵਨ ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਰੈਲੇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, although it's about past, although it's about the 1970s era of Britain, ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਬੁੱਕ prevalent ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, that's just surprising. Does it mean that nothing has changed since the time when you were young and when you faced some incidents where you realized that racism does exist? Let's speak about that before we go towards the details of this book.
The thing is, Gurpreet, what really disheartens me is the fact that what happened to me and what the book illustrates is in 1970, and you said it before. From 1970 to 2020, have things changed? Have we really eradicated racism on this planet Earth that we were supposed to live together happily? No, we haven't. It hasn't been done. And my book will illustrate the fact that nobody should be going through this now. You know, we should all be living together happily as one big family on this planet. And why can't we live like that? You know, why is there differences? Why do people not accept others? That's the big question I have for everyone out there. You know, we just need to live as one big family, and you know, racism has to be eradicated, has to be abolished. And you know, those people out there who don't understand that need to sit down and understand the fact that we just need to live together peacefully.
That's right. That's right, Jay, and I do fully agree with that. But if you talk about this book, I have read the back of it, and you did me the links, and I did quite a reading of that, and I was quite impressed to see, certain things that you have mentioned about your personal experiences, and some experiences of your family. And if you would just say one of those incidents from your book, which you have mentioned in that, so as to generate some curiosity in the viewers right now.
Yeah, the thing was, we were at a time, we in the area, we were the only Asians in the whole area. We were like pioneers, because my father came to the country in 1967. My mum had already been in this country since 1945. My dad came here to create a family, live happily ever after, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen. What happened was that we were surrounded by abuse, we were surrounded by racism, and it wasn't only the bullying in the school, because obviously we stuck out because we were the only Asians. There was no black children, no Chinese, no other ethnics. We were the only ones there, and we were Sikhs. We had Kutta at the back as well. We were growing up as young Sikhs, like we should. Everybody should be allowed to follow whatever religion they want. But it was a change for the people around us, including the bullies, the school kids, even the teachers. The teachers were, they were a nightmare. Um, and on top of that, just to make things worse, we had the National Front, which was the skinheads and Nazi skinheads, and they were just across the road, and they
Yeah,
totally um, just attacked us in every way they could to make our lives
yeah.
hell, and they did make our lives hell. It was terrible. It was a terrible experience.
That is, but and it just makes me curious to know that from 1970s and now in 2020, what inspired you, what what really motivated you to come out and write your experiences now, to come out and tell the world that this is how bad situation was for immigrants back in 1970s. I mean, you could have, with due respect, of course, could have come out with this through articles all that is building up to 2020. But why do you think that this was the time when we need to hear this story more than ever?
I think the fact is that people who actually are racist, okay, who are actually sitting there and saying, we don't like these people or don't like them people or whatever, they don't understand the impact that their actions have. And the same thing with my story. My story, I wrote my story to show people that this is the impact racism has. It actually makes people's lives a nightmare. And especially as young children,
Yep.
nobody deserves to go through that. Nobody deserves to go through that because what? Because my skin color was different. Because I was a Sikh. I was not accepted. No, that shouldn't happen. That, especially this day and time, it shouldn't be happening because my book is a message out there to everyone to say that no matter what we do, we need to make a big muscular effort to abolish racism. The thinking, the mindset, it has to change. Let people be who they want to be. Let people live how they want to be. If they want to be a Muslim, they want to be a Sikh, they want to be whatever they want to be. Just let them be. You need to set people for that. And my book is, I could have easily not written this book at all. Okay, I wasn't the only person who went through racism in the 70s in England. There were many other Asians, and a lot of people have somehow blocked this at the back of their head, and they've carried on with their lives and everything. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put it away and just carry on with my life. I wanted to make sure that I sat there and made a book which would show people, listen, this is what my father went through. This is what my mother went through. Okay, I mean, they were both just innocent individuals, and there was us, the young children. Young children. I'm hearing an 8-year-old sitting at home with your family, watching telly, and all of a sudden hearing your window smash with a brick on a constant basis. I mean, that is just fair. Again, my father was an innocent person. He was a hard worker. He came to his country to make something, make a young family for himself, and create have a house and everything. And my mum was a housewife. Just all we wanted to do was left alone, but that didn't happen. We weren't left alone. We were pushed, we were pushed, we were threatened. And another thing then, what that does is it creates mental issues, mental health issues. You know, we were like, well, we don't belong here. Nobody wants us to be here. No, we don't, we're not liked. And nobody should go for that. No child, this day and even in those days, nobody should go for that. It should be eradicated. Everyone should just let everyone be. And as I said, the full impact that we suffered is in the book. And even when I was writing it, there were times I had to just stop and just walk away from it and think, no, I need to just get my thoughts. And I asked myself the question many times, God, did this really happen? Did we go through this? It was just unacceptable behaviour from everyone. And like I said, it was not only the bullies in the playground, it wasn't just the teachers in the class. We actually had constant hooligans, Nazi skinheads, which were just making our lives hell.
And when did you realize that people around you, or in some other kind of societies, or there are groups who work towards anti-bullying or anti-racism, and that there is a discussion that the people are aware of the fact that this is wrong, and then there are people like you who feel like you, who can share your feelings. So when did you start to realize this? When did you start going out and start to find out that there are platforms that you can share your experiences at? So when did that happen? Back then in the time.
Um, it didn't. It didn't happen for a long time. I mean, when I was speaking to the NSPCC, and I interviewed NSPCC because I worked in child protection. I've done seminars and I've done workshops at the NSPCC. Um, we did not see one anti-bullying poster in school ever. There was never an anti-bullying
Hmm.
poster. So basically, we thought there was no help whatsoever for us. But at a young age, I had made myself a promise, and because I realised what I was going through, and I made myself a promise, and that was that when I got to age, I would do something to change this, not just leave it. It's happened. I've been
Yeah.
bullied. Okay, no, 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 no,
In
no, no.
fact, I was
When I
sorry to interrupt you. In fact, I was going to ask you about this promise because you mentioned it, in the foreword as well of your book. There was this promise which kept you going through your life, and it was a milestone in your life. So, if you can speak more about this promise that you made, in your mind, and that helped you sail through those times.
I was 8 years old, okay, and I remember very clearly I was 8 years old, and without telling you guys too much about the book, I was standing outside my house watching it burn. My house has been burnt down, and I looked at the house and I said to myself, nobody should go for this. So I was 8 years old, and I made myself a promise. The promise was that when I grew up, doesn't matter what it was, I would do something to change this, to send a message out there to the people that this is what people who suffer from racism, this is what they go through, and nobody should be going through that behaviour. So that was at 8 years old, and obviously I couldn't do much at the age of 8. But when I grew older, I wrote a letter to Esther Ransom, who is the CEO of NSPCC, and just it was a short email, and it was just explaining to her that what I went through, and I asked her, how can I help? Okay, I've got to make a difference. I've got to do something. And instantly, I was enrolled as a volunteer for the NSPCC, and I've spoken to thousands of children about bullying, about anti-bullying, about mental health, and I remember the first time I actually went to assembly, and from 8 years old to 32 years old, and I'm 32 years old, I'm walking to assembly, and there's all these kids sitting around me, and I thought,
Hmm.
oh my God, how am I going to do this? But what made
Hmm.
me go forward was my passion and my promise that I made when I was 8 years old. I went forward and I spoke to these children. I said, about anti-bullying and about taking care of each other, and that you are important. Everyone should be accepted for who they are, and seeing their little eyes open and think, well, yeah, this guy's telling us something. We can be loved. We don't have to be bullied. And the biggest thing was we told them there's someone out there to talk to. Yeah, you need to reach out.
That there is
Nobody should suffer in silence. Nobody should suffer in silence. There's help out there. Just reach out and get it.
and Jack, it's very interesting. But then you coming out with this book, do you think that strengthens the trust and the belief of your future generation? Do you see that they are now able to cope with this power and they are much more confident than you were back in those times, but they're more aware of their surroundings, but they're still confident in going up there and representing their community. So do you think that times have changed for better, and then coming out with this book, which clearly gives out the message that you do come out stronger no matter how the situation is? Do you think that it empowers the youth now?
Me and my brother did not think we were going to make past teenagers. We did not think we'd be passing through teenagers before we'll be gone before that. That's how bad things were. But what made us keep moving forward was our father's words, and his words were amazing. He said, "Always trust in Waheguru." Okay, always have faith in Waheguru, and things will work out. Or get me right, his words at that time did not fill us with confidence at all because of our
Yeah,
surroundings. Um,
yeah.
and so obviously, but we just kept going, kept moving forward. And today, I'm happy to say that my boy Josh, he's secondary school, and he actually holds anti-bullying meetings. He's actually involved with gets involved with other children that are having some sort of issues around bullying, around racism. I mean, my children know that they need to accept everyone for who they are. And not only do they accept everyone for who they are, they obviously go out there and help people. I can make them understand,
Mm,
that bullying is not accepted, and that's engraved in my children. It's there, and now I know
yeah.
one thing: they will definitely carry that on forward to the next generation, and the next generation, and the next generation. And my book is here now. It's on Amazon. It's there, and it's going to stay there for a long time. And people in around our family, around the world, need to read it because they need to understand that this is what innocent Sikh family. All they wanted to do was follow their beliefs. My dad wore a bug, my mum wore the salwar kameez,
Yeah.
we had a jewelry. We just wanted to be left alone to do what we wanted to do. But that wasn't an easy path. It was a struggle. But yeah, so to what you're saying, yeah, the future generation, this is why I've done it. When I'm lying on my deathbed, I'm going to sit there and say to myself, listen, what did I do to make a difference? Did I do anything to change and to avoid anyone going through what we did? Yes, I have. And this is only the beginning.
Well, that's true. That's true, Jack. And just a few days ago, a Sikh asked me, why should we support the George Floyd movement? Because when we were suffering with the same kind of discrimination, nobody came for Sikh community. Nobody stood back then, especially in '84. But of course, now in 2020, living in this new age, when we have access to information through social media, through internet, do you think that it is our responsibility and we should work towards making everybody aware in Sikh community of why we should really be supporting the George Floyd movement? Because it was us back in '84, this whole discrimination, and we were in that place. And if we don't support now, it might just come back and happen to us again. So how do you think that we can make the Sikh community aware? Well, it's very important to support each other. The minorities should support each other.
Well, there's two things there, Gurpreet. First thing, as Sikhs, we have always risen to the challenge. Okay, as Sikhs, it is our community, it is engraved in us through our gurus that we always have to stand up. Okay, and we have to protect others. Okay, the innocent,
Yep.
especially the innocent, we have to get up. Somebody needs to protect them, and history will show you throughout the books that is exactly what the gurus have told us to do, and that's exactly what we've done. And yes, it is our responsibility, and it is the responsibility of humankind, everyone to stand up, okay, and make a difference. The past is the past, okay. It happened. What we went through, it was terrible. It was terrible what we went through in the past. But we need to rise up now, and we need to say to ourselves, okay, we survived that. Okay, we got through it, and we need to make sure that we need to support every issue of racism that happens around the world. And as Sikhs, we always stand up. We will always stand there to protect the innocent, and that is our duty. And that's how we need to move forward.
That's good. It's a very good message, Jack. And I specifically wanted to ask you that because you're an inspirational speaker and you help people with their, mental illnesses. So, how do you think that you have witnessed in your life people's deteriorating mental health because of racism? Do you address that topic in your book?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because there's actually a special chapter. It's called Reflections, which will be coming out in part two. It's a issue that I had personally with myself, where I thought there is no way I am going to survive this. You know, this is the end. You know, I just want to. I just don't want to carry on no more. And um, the teachers, the bullies, the skinheads. You know, we didn't belong. As far as I was concerned, I didn't belong in this. In fact, didn't belong in this planet, because you know who wants to live a life like that? People who suffer for racism, it dulls you down, it gets you down. But what made me go forward was the fact that didn't know how at the time. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew one thing: I was going to survive. And I was going to survive and one day sit in front of a camera as I am today with you, all thanks to the Sikh Channel, and send my message out to everyone out there that let's just all get along, okay? Let's just all get along. Let's all support each other, okay? Because in this planet, we are all one family. Okay, we are all one family, and that is the message that the gurus have told us through their writings and through their teachings, that we just need to get along. We need to be peaceful. We need to get along, and we need to support the innocent. We need to support the people who are suffering from mental issues. And the reason why people are suffering from mental issues is because some of them don't even think there's help out there. Nobody wants to listen to them. Let's listen to these people. Let's help them. Let's hold their hand and let's take them forward and say, listen, hey, I'm here for you. You just sometimes just call someone and give them a call and chat to them and listen. And that sometimes helps. So we need to reach out for these people. We need to hold their hand and say to them, listen, we're here for you. No one was there for me. No one's there for my brother. No one's there for my mum. No one's there for my dad. There's no one there for us. We just had to support each other, which we had no professional. But to this day and time, there are professionals out there that can help people, enlighten people, and obviously make them live the best aspects of their life.
Yeah, but Jack, it's easier for adults, if I may say so, to deal with such situations. But in present time, where we say the Gen X, Gen Z is the snowflake generation. They get affected with what they read on social media. It affects them, and especially on social media when we read hashtags related to brown kids and the discrimination that brown kids face, the black kids face. Such things which are highlighted by social media so much in today's age. How do you think that teenagers or children can go out and seek support? How can they word their miseries? How can they let their parents know what's happening to them? Because they might be too young to understand that certain things fall under the category of racism. So, what's your advice for children and teenagers, especially?
Children are like an empty book. Okay, when a child's born, they're like an empty book. They don't know nothing. Okay, I am very strongly confident that no one is born as a racist. Okay, no one is born as a racist. The people who are around us weren't born like that. All the racists in the 1970s, it was embedded into them. At that time, it was a national front who were brainwashing people, brainwashing people, which led to what it did. Um, what people, what it comes down to answer your question, Gurpreet, it comes down to the parents. Okay, it all comes down to the parents to keep an eye on what their children are doing, to speak to their children, find out what their views are, and also tell children that if there's anything that makes you feel uncomfortable on social media, you need to get away from it. Okay, you need to get away from it. And you are 100% right that social media does play a big part in brainwashing children, in sometimes in a negative way. So as parents, it all comes down to the parents. The parents need to spend time with the children, need to conversate with them, speak to them, find out what their views are, how they're doing, and children just need to be guided in the right direction. Okay? I've got two young children myself, and I do spend time with them to find out what their thoughts are about the world, about what's happening in the world, what happened to me in the 1970s, what their thoughts are, and they want to somehow want to carry the flag forward and say that if someone does send them something which is inappropriate on social media, they ignore it. And also, if they do see anything or witness something on social media, they need to report it to their parents and then understand that that is not acceptable behaviour. The thing is, good breed, there's right and there's wrong. Okay, and as I said before, it all comes down to the parents to guide their children in the right direction. And this is very important. I mean, we live in a world today where the child is on their phone all the time or their iPad all the time and everything. I mean, I sometimes just go in the room and say to my daughter, what are you doing? What are you on?
Yeah.
There's a nice way of approaching it. And as a parent, you have the right to do that. Okay. And also, again, children think that with the social media, they can look at anything, they can go to any site or whatever. No, there has to be boundaries, especially at that young age, because what these young children are looking at their childhood could actually grow into their adult life. So they need to look at positive stuff, the motivational stuff. You know, they need to be inspired or want to become something. The child, yeah, I ask my children, what do you want to become when you grow up? What do you want to do? What path are you going to take? They need to be diverted away from the negative to social media, because social media has got a positive side as well. Okay, there's many motivators out there. There's many motivational stuff. There's knowledge. I think that one saying I have is I always believe that Google is underused for knowledge and overused for stuff that we don't really need to learn about. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
videos that we don't really need to watch and everything. So
I
to
think
answer your
social
question, yes.
media is a wide topic. It just goes beyond the racism, and there's so much to address there. This debate about if it's good or bad for children, just it's just endless. But if I have to ask you, how do you think that racism exists in modern times? Of course, we have discussed that it exists on social media and internet, but then can you give some subtle examples that you have seen online that reinforces racism? Because in the past, we knew that there was lack of technology. The one way directly that racism could affect you is through face-to-face interactions, or through incidents like when you're dropped from an interview because of your last name or things like that. But it had to be something impersonal. But in today's time, racism has grown into things that we read online, just subtle names, subtle hints, even on news channels, in breaking news. So, how do you think? What instances have you witnessed of modern day racism?
Um, to tell you the truth, to what you're saying, I don't know who it is who wrote this great quote, but I think it was Will Smith. I think it was. He wrote that racism hasn't got worse. We've just started to record it.
Hmm.
And that is so true. Racism has always been here. Okay,
Yeah,
racism will always be here.
yeah.
And because of what I went through such a young child, I can actually feel when somebody is actually racist. I can sense it. I can feel see it by the behaviour. And how do I deal with
Hmm.
these people? Okay, so I know this guy's racist, and I know that obviously he's got issues with me or she's got issues with me. How do I deal with it? Well, I've learned to deal with that. You see it all the time. I've learned to deal with that by actually, you know, ignoring them. I ignore them. That is their thinking. And in some ways, I feel sorry for these people, Gurpreet, because they are living in a bubble. Okay, they're refusing to change. They've still got the attitudes of the National Front all them years ago. But the world's grown. We've evolved as human beings. Okay, and if we don't now, okay, all get together on this planet to make this change, then it will never
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah.
It's here to stay. Okay, and can we? I think it was Einstein who said it was easier to split the atom than it is to break a prejudice. I think Einstein
Hmm.
said that. And as I said before, no one's born a racist. All the skinheads that were smashing their windows, they weren't born like that. It was, as you
Hmm.
said, it was the media at the time. They had racist TV programs, the BBC, the TV channels. They didn't support it at all. And also on the other side, we had the National Front going forward, carrying the flag, saying that we need to get rid of these guys out of our country. Um, but yeah, racism is there. It's all the time. The best way I deal with racism is just ignore it. That's it. It's the best thing to. If they want to be like that, if that person wants to live in that bubble, and yeah, I do see a lot of people people having a double look at me sometimes, like he's Indian, he's a different color skin. It's still there. It's still there, and it's going to exist. But these people, the good point is that these people are now becoming a minority, especially the recent
Hmm.
events that have taken place. Okay, these people have become a minority, and not only do we want them to become a minority, we want them to go eradicate. And if people do have any racist views in their head about other people, then that's exactly where they need to stay in their
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
and that's something
Yeah.
they need to deal with. I don't need to deal with nothing because I treat everybody the same. And that is the part of the Sikhs, that's of the Sikh religion. The Bangle shows that it's round because we are all equal. We are round, we are one
Yeah.
happy family. And as I
Yeah.
said, the racists are going to become a minority, and these people are going to have to deal with it in their head that they either change or they just keep quiet, just step back. Because we need to live with each other happily.
Yeah, I think Jag, your views on how to prevent racism, how to uh, go for it, what steps to take. I think your views really make it interesting for the viewers to go ahead and read the book. Again, I would like you to tell the viewers where can they find the link to the book, and also I would like to ask that you have released the book online. Do you have any plans to release a paperback copy as well?
Yeah. Okay. So the plans are good. What we're going to do is we'll release part one. Then part two and part three are finished. Okay. We just have to do a few minor changes on them. Then they'll be going out. And once I've let all three parts released on Amazon, then we're going to go paperback with that. And after that, I've got so many plans, so many things to do. And if anybody wants to download it, they can download the book on www.jagsing.uk /Unbreakable. Okay, so that's www.jagsing.uk /Unbreakable. And my book is my contribution towards the eradication of racism. Okay, it just needs to stop. And was it easy for me to write the book? No, it wasn't. Could I have just left it? I'm not bothered. No, not after I made that promise when I was 8 years old. I was not going to leave it. And I have done it. But as I said, Gurpreet, this is only the beginning, and I've got so much planned. So I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop until this is eradicated or abolished in any way or form. And I'm
Course,
so
yes, you
happy.
are motivated, and that's quite visible. You are quite motivated. And if you don't mind me asking, why are there three parts to this story? How did you divide your story into three parts? So, where do we know what is the first part signposting towards? So, is it like three parts of your life, or kind of instances you had? So, what divides the story in three parts?
Well, the reason I've done it in three parts is because I wanted each part to be quality rather than quantity. I want it to be quality. Okay, so each part has actually been read by me, proofread. I proofread it myself 10 times. My editor read it 3 times. My boy read it twice. And then I did it again and again and again because I wanted to make it crystal clear that I am sending the correct message in each part that I send out. So the first part, I mean, 16 years has taken, Gurpreet. 16 years
Mm-hmm.
has taken to get this book together. And I couldn't read or write when I was 13 years old. I couldn't read or write. The reason why I couldn't read and write was because rather than educating school, I was too busy ducking and diving the bullies. And, teachers didn't pay attention to us because we were, different. They paid attention. So when I was 13, I couldn't read or write. Now, that's an issue for a 13-year-old. So I
Yeah.
started from the bottom. I started to read everything I could get hold of. And today I'm just proud and happy the fact I've written a book, which we are talking about today. The three parts, the reason I've done it in three parts is because I want them to be quality, all three parts to be quality and not quantity for the people, because I'm going to make sure that I get the correct message out there.
That's great, Jack. And I hope it has already created quite a curiosity among the viewers here to get the book online. www.jacksing.uk /Unbreakable is the link where you can go on and order the book. And Sare Jane viewers ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਜੈਕ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਲੰਡਨ ਬੇਸਡ ਰਾਈਟਰ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਐਂਸਸ ਥਰੂ 1970s and 80s ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਥਰੂ ਆਊਟ ਸਕੂਲ ਐਂਡ ਥਰੂ ਆਊਟ ਹਿਸ ਲਾਈਫ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਬੁੱਕ 'ਚ ਲਿਖੇ ਨੇ a lot of you might be able to relate with it. And because most of our viewers are Punjabi speaking, Jack, do you have any plans of releasing the book in Punjabi as well? Uh,
English and Punjabi. I'm working at the
yeah,
moment, and that is part of the plans. One thing I will say,
yeah.
Gurpreet, is that, and this is a very important message I'd like to send out. I don't think I would have survived if we hadn't had our full faith in Waheguru. I would like to emphasize that. I'd like to emphasize the fact that if it weren't for the teachings of my mum and dad saying that Waheguru sa din alega, Waheguru sa kuch theek karega, bharosa rakho, himmat karo, all the amazing qualities of Sikhism, and these have not even read in my head and made me come through it, and so that I can stand tall and say, I made it through. I'll do the same for the next generation. our children, their children, their children. And we need to realise that Sikhism and Waheguru played a big role in me standing here, sitting here today, doing this interview.
Much, Jack. That's a wonderful message. And ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ viewers ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪਸੰਦ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੋਣਾ। ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲਿੰਕ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਆ ਆਰਡਰ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਜੈਕ, we should wrap it up now. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Waheguru ji ki fateh. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.